Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be showing and talking about why Enchantress is a first phase pick ban hero in the pro scene. This is a hero that is pretty nuts right now. The usefulness of this hero throughout every stage of the game is insane, and there's a couple of reasons that you might not even know. You might be like, oh, Speed, you take a creep and you throw it at a tower and you throw impetus at people, and yeah, we're going to go over why that's stronger than ever. We're also going to talk about some of the things that have changed in the recent patches that have caused this hero to become a menace to society. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Also, I want to tell you guys that if you've been struggling with solo queue and you're looking to get to the next rank, I'm going to be able to help you. Like, literally, with the gameleap website, I'm going to give you guys guides that are going to make it unbelievably clear on what you need to do. So if you've been stuck in the solo queue grind, you don't know what to do, and you want to become absolutely broken, but like actually you want to become much better at Dota, and you want to take it more seriously, the gameleap website is going to help you do that. So click the link down below. I'm going to help you get to the next rank, and I'll see you there. Alright, so let's start it off with starting item build. The thing you always want to do on Ench is start with a sentry and buy one instantly. This should be the case every single game. There should not be an exception to this. Why? Because the large camp is the name of the game. Now, in your average pub, people are going to forget to block the large camp against Ench. In those cases, you want to take your enchant at level 2 and win your team the game. I'm going to get more into this as we see it, but basically, if you can't win your team the lane with a creep, with the large creep, you suck. All right, you're just bad at the game. Now, why does he go Blightstone? Blightstone in this lane in particular is good because he's laning against the Coddle. This is a hero with very bad armor, so dropping it even further is good. He's also laning with a Void, a hero that is, solely right clicks, so it's quite good. However, if your lane isn't like that, like you're laning against two high armor heroes, then don't go Blightstone. You can buy it later on to work with the creep, but don't buy it at level 1. It is a good item in general though, because it works with your creep, right? With the enchant, it's pretty strong. Now, in terms of the early laning stage, here's what you want to do. You always want to play from the tree side of the lane, and then if you do take your Q, you should be taking your Q when you know that the trades are very favorable. If the person you're laning against, let's say you're laning against a Hoodwink, a hero that can trade pretty well, or like, let's say Alina 4, right? Any hero that can trade remotely well, a Monkey King, okay? What you want to do then is take your heal. Your heal is incredibly good at level 1, and it was actually buffed in 7.31 to be a lower mana cost. One of the bigger reasons why this hero is actually buffed in this patch, a 30 mana reduction on a hero that has mana problems, is quite a large deal in the lane. It really adds up. So, in even trading lanes, you take your E. Now, I respect his decision in this lane to take Q, because Coddle doesn't really pressure you, and DK doesn't pressure you either, so it's kind of just a lane where you're hitting them and they're not generally hitting you, so Impetus is better. You can also use it to secure range creeps, and as we see, he does that there. It's a beautiful play, and I think from Lodine here, this is a fantastic understanding of the lane, because Void does not have a way to secure range creeps, so he's adapting to that, and his opponents don't pressure him, so it's the perfect lane to take Impetus and not Nature's Attendance. After that, at 53, he goes for the block on the camp, or the D-ward on the camp. And the reason why this is a good time to potentially do it is if you can D-ward the camp right here. And you can see this guy has done the math. This guy's a tryhard, which I respect. I love a good tryhard. This is beautiful stuff, right? He knows basically exactly when he could put the sentry down and get 2 hits off to D-ward the camp. It's really cool, actually. So let's see exactly when he does it. He puts down the sentry right outside of the camp at 55. Walks out at 56 and can hit twice before the minute mark to potentially get the D-ward. Now, unfortunately, this is really high MMR. This is the DPC. So Coddle understands that something like this could happen, and he goes for the block. You can see in these pro games, the name of the game is don't let Ench get a large camp. Don't let Ench get a large camp. However, in your pubs, you should always get a large camp. Right? You should basically always get a large camp. And so, yeah, it's just like a sentry D-ward battle. That's why you ship out another sentry as your first item. And then from there on out, you're throwing impetuses and then running away. The reason why you're running away when you throw your impetus always is because it does more damage. Impetus does damage based on distance traveled, so you turn around before it hits them, just so it does a little bit of extra damage, unless you're actually just fully chasing them. One thing you can do when you only have level 1 enchant and your camp is blocked, you can run over to the jungle and pull out the camp, hit it over, and then enchant it. Think about a level 1 enchant is it lasts for 30 seconds to creep. At level 2, it lasts for 60, it doubles. So Enchantress really spikes at level 3. That's when she becomes like one of the best laners in the game, if not like the best laner in the game. And so, depending on the matchups. And so what you want to do when you have level 1 enchant is like really draw out the creep. You can see she doesn't enchant it until it's as close as possible, because otherwise you just won't get that much value out of the creep. In fact, I think he even sends it to contest the water rune. Yeah, that's what he's doing. He was scouting a stack and contesting a water rune. So you can see it doesn't really get that much value out of it. And this is kind of what happens, which is why you really want to try to unblock this cam. Because if you get a creep here and you can use it to zone, you're basically going to win your team an entire free creep wave, which is pretty huge. Now, finally, he's going to hit level 3. And essentially, when you hit level 3, you can really start to look to bully the offlaner. You can do it at level 1 and level 2 as well. It is a thing, especially once again. I know I keep saying it, but it's just kind of how this hero works. If you do get the large camp, then you should look to bully the offlaner and the 4. If you don't, you want to play around pulls and just like auto-attacking the 4. With the Nature's Attendance, we're not seeing in this game for kind of the reasons we talked about earlier, but with Nature's Attendance, you out-trade almost every hero in the game, so you do just, especially if you skill that, you want to buy a Clarity, buy a Sentry, and then just trade out, and just trade, pop your heal when you're about a third HP, pop your Clarity, and rinse repeat. Up here, we're going to see a beautiful rotation from Lodine. This is a perfectly timed rotation. He's going to smoke to mid, which I don't think you necessarily have to do, especially if you have a creep like the Satyr. It's not that value to smoke to mid. You still can get off a good enchant. A lot of you people might not know, enchant does slow. It's a 55% slow, one of the highest slows in the game. Even at level 1, it's a 4-second slow for 55%. It's an insane slow. So essentially, you can smoke, try to slow them, and then run them down. In this case, that's not what's going to happen, but the main reason why he's mid now is to D-ward the mid ward, push in the mid wave, and play on the cart. If you can pay attention to the cart and tell when it's alive, you can look to put pressure on the mid tower, and you should, especially if you don't bully the offlaner. If you can easily bully the offlaner and you can continuously kick them out of the lane, that's a great play to make, and you can consistently do that. It's a fantastic idea. But in a game like this, he doesn't bully the DK, too high of armor. His DP has ulti, and they have a cart. It's literally best case scenario to come mid and just chuck a Satyr at the mid tower, right? It's such a high value play because he's very strong. The Satyr's very strong. It's going to tank up the creeps, and they're going to get about a little bit over half damage on this tower and then back off. It's a fantastic play. Not enough players in pubs do this. And you might be like, no, Speed, my team wouldn't synergize. It's like, yeah, your team might not synergize and they might not dive, but the thing is, even in pubs, the scenario that will happen in your like average 2, 3, 4 KMMR game is the enemy mid laners will both leave the lane. You'll have a cart mid, whether or not it's in minute 10 or minute 5 or minute 6 or minute 11, obviously depending on how long the cart lives for. And then you can look to take the mid tower basically by yourself. Now, in terms of gameplay as Ench in the early game, if you go 2-2-0 like he does here, you're not going to want to run in the fight. He looks for an enchant onto the gyro here. That's going to allow MTD on the DP to get on top of the gyro and a bait for a good chrono. So that's how they're going to execute this fight here. Run in with the enchant, give vision with the creep, set up with the exo, and then bait for the chrono. But because he doesn't have any points in heal, you have to play the outside of the fight so you don't just insta-die. And he's going to die anyway, which is kind of whatever. Like, you don't really care about dying as Ench for the most part. In general, you should die in the fights. Like, you don't want to just, like, completely stay in the back until you maybe have, like, D-Lance, then you can do that. But in general, solid fight, sets up on the gyro, sets up for a 2-man chrono. Is exactly what you want to do. In terms of early items, you absolutely need to buy wand raindrops every single game on this hero. In my opinion, it's non-negotiable. They are the best mana plus HP items in the early game that are best for heroes like Enchant, who need to, number 1, have a lot of mana, and number 2, tank some sort of damage in team fights. So please buy these items without fail every single game. After that, the game can become a little bit confusing. Like outside of the laning stage, getting into the early-ish, mid-ish game, it can get weird. What you want to do if nothing is happening is just kill waves, kill camps that your team isn't farming. For instance here, like Centaur's pushing in the wave, so he like cleaned up the small camp earlier. Now he's going to look to help Centaur take this camp. And one of the biggest reasons why Ench is broken right now is this stupid-ass creep, which is 100% going to get nerfed. But until it doesn't, you can summon these skeletons that just insta-kill towers. So if you don't know how it works, you haven't looked at the number, basically, Skeleton's allies gain bonus attack damage in this aura, okay? Which means they give, right, just bonus damage to everything around. As a result, everything in the area is getting this rallied attack damage, right? Ench gets +9 damage, Centaur gets +9 damage, each of the skeletons get plus damage, and so you just have a bunch of plus damage creeps. And if they don't respond to this creep, you will take their tower, because if you summon again, now all the skeletons get another +9 damage, which makes them hit for like 30-something damage. It's basically 30-second damage. And that is why if you manage to get one of these creeps, don't play with your team. Like, I'm just keeping it simple. Don't play with your team. Like, this mid-tower defense, who cares? You know, like, just ignore it, all right? Don't go. Just be like, hey, team, I got this creep. It's a little bit too strong right now. It's a little busted. I'm going to shove in the wave, and then take the tower. Even here, he doesn't even shove in the wave because he has a centaur. But what you can do is keep your skeletons alive. Let the big troll creep tank. Let the troll creep tank the tower. Keep the skeletons alive, and you can just take a tier 1 alone from full backdoor, right? Because tier 1s never have backdoor. So I guess I shouldn't say backdoor, but you get the point, right? Tier 1s don't have backdoor. So you can just walk up to it, let the troll creep tank, and then the skeletons will tank the tower every single time. It just insta kills it. Like, boom, tower's gone. Map control, right? Farm, you know, and like you can see he laughs. He's like, yeah, this is stupid. It's stupid. It's definitely way too much damage. Another thing you can do as Zench is just tank ganks, especially if you max E. The goal of this hero is to tank ganks. I have a video, a different video on YouTube where I talk about that, so you can go check that out if you want. He's going to be maxing Impetus this game. You still don't, if you're going to max Impetus, you don't max Enchant. There's like 2 main builds to this hero. It's usually max Enchant, max E, or max Q, 2 points Enchant, and then max E. Because you don't want to like never have points in E, otherwise you're just too easy to kill, and so that's a bit of a problem. Because the main spike on your E is level 1 in the lane, and then level 2 it doubles, so that's kind of like the main spikes. As you can see, he just keeps taking over this stupid ass troll creep. The skeletons do die very easily, which is why you have to be a little bit careful. Like in general, when you get the troll creep, you should look at it as like a split push creep. There's better creeps for team fighting, and you know you should keep those in mind in the fights. Now at this point of the game, he gets really lucky and gets a Grove Bow, but now he has his Dragonlance Grove Bow timing. And now, essentially, it's very hard for you to die because you have a comfortable amount of HP. You're going to have about 1,500 effective HP with the raindrops and wand active. With the heal, if you manage to get it off, you're going to have around 2.3k HP. I believe it's about 700-800 heal. I'm not sure exactly of the numbers. But the point is that you're basically impossible to kill as long as you don't get bursted from full. In a game like this, the enemy team doesn't really have the heroes to do that, so it's like highly unlikely he dies from full HP unless they completely all in on him and he's like wildly out of position. So in general, what you want to do now is just, yeah, don't run in, like don't kill yourself. You know, if you go like Fluffy Hat, max Ench, that's what you do. With this build, you don't necessarily stay in the back, but you'll play in the middle, and I'll show you guys that. For instance, we're gonna see a top skirmish here, which he's gonna TP into, and just start laying out damage, and that's all you do. But every single one of these impetuses are gonna hit for like 150, like pure, right? So it just completely chunks through. Is it pure? Yeah, it's pure. It just completely chunks through these heroes' armor and annihilates them. This gyro just goes down. Invoker walks over. You might be like, oh, Centaur. You know, Centaur can't kill a full HP hero. That's not what Centaur does. But with the help of the Impetus, they managed to take him down because every single Impetus is doing 155 damage with this Grobo D-Lance timing, and they just completely chunk him down, walks away on the last auto attack to amp the damage, and they kill off the Invoker. So just, it's very easy to execute on. Like you can see, he's not afraid to get a little bit close to the enemies. He's not afraid to go in the middle. Obviously, you don't want to walk in and just tank a bunch of nukes. You can die from full that way. So like, don't tank. You're not the Centaur, right? Don't be the Centaur, but be like the middle. Hopefully that kind of makes sense, guys. You just want to look at the team fights as like, don't be too afraid of getting gone on, but don't be the first guy who just dies from full when you go D-Lance, because you're losing out on a lot of, you know, just damage then. All right, and that's going to be not all for the video. There's basically one more main thing I want to talk about outside of watching him take this team fight as he stays on the outside, doesn't die to the meteor, doesn't die to the cooldown, doesn't die to the flak, because he has a maxed out E, which heals him for, I think, like 1,600 or something like that. It's pretty ridiculous, but as you see in this team fight, the gyro is eventually going to get isolated. The BKB runs out, and here comes the impetuses. Good enchant to slow him down. It's 55% slow. 3 impetuses, double kill for Lodine. He is out of mana. You are going to have to make sure that in between fights you do refill up your mana pool. Your hero does not have a good way to regen the mana and consistently will run out of it. So make sure in between fights you are going back to base or having someone give you mana. You can buy clarities, but generally it's not enough. Like even here, I kind of would have liked to see him get some sort of mana item or have his team chill, but obviously they were just feeling strong with Exo, so they wanted to force the issue, regardless of Edge's, you know, mana state. All right, one more creep that's really fascinating is this Harpy Scout. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard about it if you've been watching any of the pro scenes as of late, but I'm going to quickly cover the numbers. So basically, it has this ability called Takeoff. The Harpy Scout gains flying movement at the cost of movement speed, consumes mana while active. So obviously, it can't stay in the air for forever, but you can throw this thing up in the air, and it just gives vision. And I think it's 1,200 is the number I heard. I don't know why it doesn't say it, but you can see as this thing flies over, and he'll eventually put it over the trees in a moment here. It's something I believe you can toggle. Yeah, you can toggle it. So if it's running out of mana, you can turn it off. But as you can see, it doesn't really run out of mana. It's like, it's not mana intensive at all. But like, look at this vision. I mean, like, what in the world? Like, what in the world? At nighttime, They just see this coddle. Like, this is his player view. You might be like, oh, this is free camera. This is player view, guys. You know what I mean? It's like, this is like one of those things where you're like looking at this, you're like, surely this is like one of those like casters, right? Casters watching the game. He's showing us everything that's happening. Nah, bro, this is just a Harpy Scout. Like, it's just giving vision all the way to here. Like, this is what they can see. They can see, like, it's insane, bro. Like, it's actually insane how much vision this thing provides. And so when you're pushing towers or looking to set up on a tier 2, you just chuck this thing in the trees. You can chuck it here or chuck it here. Nope. Oh, we see the coddle. Okay, well, unfortunately, you're dead, coddle. You might be like, how do they have vision there? There's not a hill ward. Joke's on you. There's a Harpy Scout. But all right, that's like legit, bro. Teams are buying a Helm Dom just to take this creep over him because of how stupid it is. It will probably get nerfed at some point, but until it does, even when it does, it's probably still going to be broken. It's flying vision, which is insane. It's hard to get rid of this thing too. But all right, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. And last thing I want to say, when you do get the Hurricane Pike, watch this clip, watch this clip. This is actually crazy, guys. Check this out. In team fights, when you get the Hurricane Pike, as long as you have vision, because you do need vision to chuck the impetuses, which is why like this hill ward is fantastic from Lodine here. But look at this fight, right? Bumps into the DK. This seems like a matchup where you kind of just have to ignore him, right? Not at all. Like, not at all. Look at this. Now the DK, I'm not gonna lie, was kind of stupid for running away there. You should just man up if you get piked. But he was obviously afraid because they were losing. Either way, yeah. If they try to run away and you have vision, they die. But all right, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one, and I'm out. Peace.
And that's all. But remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the gameleap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.